What's up y'all, Immaculate here. In this video, I'll be going over my preferred method for getting beats from the Pocket Operator onto the computer by recording 4 parts: a main track section, a no drums section, a drums only section, and a punch-in effects section. By setting up the patterns in the correct order and recording everything in one long take, you can keep any segment of the entire audio clip in sync and set up some easy to recognize cues that help you split up the sections. Let's get to it. This method doesn't require multiple devices, but lately I've been experimenting with workflows involving multiple samplers. So for this setup, the Pocket Operator has the melody and the Lo-Fi 12 has the drums. Let's listen to the main sample chops. When recording beats from the Pocket Operator, it's a good idea to organize the patterns in the structure that you want the song arranged. Here I have a main 16-bar section on patterns 1 through 8. Patterns 9 through 12 have the sample chops, but no additional instruments. And patterns 13 and 14 I'm using as an 8-bar bridge section. We'll start by setting the Pocket Operator to play the main 16-bar section, followed by the 8-bar bridge section. With everything ready, I press record in my DAW, then I press play on the Pocket Operator. I'll let this full 24-bar section play out once, so that we have a recording of what it sounds like without any punch-in effects or mute-outs. One thing to mention is that it's important to do the entire recording in one take while the sequence is still playing. It will keep the patterns in sync when we get to rearranging things in the DAW. This is the 8-bar bridge section, patterns 13 and 14, so I know the 24-bar main section is almost over. To prepare for the next section, I mute the pads on the Lo-Fi 12, so I'm just capturing the sample chops from the Pocket Operator. Now I set the Pocket Operator to play the patterns where I have the sample chops but no additional instruments. If I had sequenced this entirely on the Pocket Operator, I would have needed to create copies of the main pattern and then remove the drums from those patterns for this part. The next section I want to record is the drums with no bass or sample chops. I set the Pocket Operator to play an empty pattern and mute the bass pad on the Lo-Fi 12. The drum pattern is only a 2-bar loop, so once I have that, I set the Pocket Operator up to play the main 24-bar pattern again. I set it up in the exact same way as I first did, so that it'll be easier to line up with the recording of this part I captured at the beginning. Now I'm just punching in various effects while the main part plays. Sometimes I practice timing specific punch-in effects, but most of the time I just input different ones at random points in the pattern. That's enough punch-in effects. Let's switch to the DAW and start working with the recording. Here I'm using Reason, but this method can apply to most programs. The first thing I always do with the recording is normalize it. Since I recorded everything in one clip, this will increase the volume equally throughout the entire recording. Now we need to line up the start of the waveform with the grid on the DAW. I zoom in really close on the timeline and bring the start of the clip close to where the kick plays. This part can require some tweaking, so I'll just pick a point before the kick and then snap the clip all the way to the left. Now I'm going to loop a 2-bar section near the start and listen for any pops or clicks when the playback loops. It sounded like there's a small pop when the 2-bar segment loops, so I'm going to add a little more space before the first kick. Sounds like that took care of the pop. Now that the clip is synced, we're ready to start splitting up the recording onto different tracks. Just like with the parts I recorded, I eventually want there to be 4 tracks with different clips of the recorded beat lined up and in sync. The first track will be the main track. The second track will be the no drum track. The third track will be the drums only track. The fourth track and any tracks after that will be the punch-in effects tracks. Let's find the start of the no drum track. It begins right after the 8-bar bridge section. Now that we've got the no drum section clipped out, we can line them up in the second audio track. I move the no drum section to the start of the timeline in the second audio track. That clip on the right is the 8-bar bridge section, which I'll deal with later. I unmuted the drums a little too early in the no drums part of the main section, so I'll have to combine that last part of the clip with an earlier recording of it. I have 2 4-bar loops that each need to play twice for this section, so I copy each 4-bar loop and arrange them to line up under those same patterns of the main track. Then I add the no drum recording of the 8-bar bridge section right after the 16-bar section. Lastly, I mute the no drums track. Now I'll show how this structure makes it easy to weave in and out between the recordings. After pressing play, I can press the solo button on track 2 to mute out the drums. Next up is the drums only track. Here I clip out the drums only segment, which is 2 bars long. After adding a new audio track, I snap the clip all the way to the start of the timeline and copy it so it fills the same length as the other tracks. I mute this drum track, then just like with the no drums track, I weave it in and out by using the solo button while the main track is playing. Last up is the performance track. This one has the exact same structure as the main track, 16-bar main section and 8-bar bridge section, so it's very easy to isolate and line up with the main track. That's where the 8-bar bridge section starts, so I'll make a slice and move the clip to the start of the timeline in track 4. There's one more thing we need to pull from this clip, the 8-bar bridge section with the punch-in effects. I listened to the recording to make sure the segment is the correct length. main section start again, so I make a slice where the 8-bar bridge section ends. Now I move the performance take of the 8-bar bridge section to the end of the performance track. At this point, I realized that I only had 4 bars of the 8-bar bridge section on the other tracks, so I copy and paste the 4 bars of that section so it's 8 bars long. And the last clip is the final performance track. Since all the clips are lined up and in the same sequence, 16-bar main section and 8-bar bridge section, it's easy to arrange a full track and add variety like mute outs, performance takes, and intros and outros. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.